everyone. It's Stephanie with the Patient Story here with Ashley, who's just finished telling us the second sort of chapter of this lung cancer story. Ashley, you just talked about, going through the genomic testing, also why you decided to drive 90 miles to get treatment at a larger center in a larger place for your cancer treatment, and also the Tagrisso, this targeted therapy for your EGFR positive non-small cell lung cancer with the T790 mutation as well. And so I'd love to, ask you a couple questions here. One is, just kind of going on with this treatment. It's not curable, but it's treatable, especially with this targeted therapy. How do you live life day to day? How have you adjusted? I've heard people, for instance, talking about, okay, it's not cancer in the movies, or it's like a treatment and you're done, but it's like a chronic illness.
Yeah. And I tried to early on, I made the mistake of going to Google, like I mentioned before. And then I started finding groups within social media that, was like, I saw people that were living with this, and I'm like, oh, there's hope. I can keep going. I'm not going to be taken out of here tomorrow. This is not a death sentence. I know what is possible. I know what the end result could be. And so I started looking at it as a chronic disease. And then, people say, well, one day at a time, one day at a time. Yes, absolutely, one day at a time, because one day at a time is all we get anyway. And I'm able now to think about things in a different perspective. I can get low, I can get sad, but I try not to camp out there. Initially, when I was first diagnosed, I said, this is what intentional living is supposed to look like. I had said all the things about cherish every day, life is a gift. Those are just pretty words. I didn't truly understand it. It didn't necessarily click. But when you're faced with your own mortality and it is concrete that this might end sooner than later, there's a mind shift, there's a perspective shift, there's a new mindset that comes in. Do I have it all together? No. Am I always positive? No. But I try to be positive, and I try to always share the good things. In that Tagrisso group, I am proud to tell people I've been here for 43 months to the person that just started last month or today or last week, to just give hope, because there were people in front of me through a screen that offered me hope when they were sharing their story. And so none of it is obviously to brag or anything like that, but just to say, I'm on this journey. I was 36 years old. It felt like the rug was ripped out from under me. But ultimately, it's the club that nobody signed up for. It's the social club, the army, whatever you want to say, that nobody signed up for. We were drafted, but there's an entire international group of incredible people within this community that simply want the same thing, and that's more runway. It helps to have people that that understands you. My husband lives here in this house with me. We sleep in the same bed every night, but he has no clue what it feels like to have lung cancer. I can talk to him and tell him how I'm feeling until I am blue in the face, and he still doesn't have a clue. But when you can connect to someone that also has just cancer in general, whether it be breast or any of it, we understand each other in a way that others can't understand us. And we understand a different outlook on life that others can't understand. I often say that I wish people could get just a glimpse of how we look at life now than before. I told my doctor, I was like, can I just take off the dirty socks now? Like, I get it. I understand. I'm going to embrace life, this way. I'm going to appreciate things that maybe I took for granted before, the griping and complaining because somebody pulled out in front of you. Well, it's not really important. Move along. And he's like, you would revert right back. He said, if we were able to take this away, you would revert right back to your old ways. And I'm like, well, I want to do that. A lot of people say cancer was the best thing that happened to them. It took me a while to understand that, but I understand it now because I'm loved on by so many. Nobody necessarily feels sorry for me, but they show love. They check in on me. They, send me a message. I'm praying for you today. Prayer is a big thing in my life. And so that just means a lot that somebody's thinking about me. Whereas before, maybe I wouldn't get those. You might, but you might not. And so it's just been an incredible experience to be loved on by so many people. And also to be able to share like I'm doing today. When I see or hear of somebody that's newly diagnosed with cancer, regardless of what kind, I feel compelled to reach out to them to say, hey, you've got this. You're going to fight. It's going to get rough. You're going to experience this, this, and this, but you're going to be able to keep going. You're going to get up every morning. You're going to push through, even when you feel like giving up, because giving up isn't an option. You were handed this for whatever reason. We don't know the reason. At first, I thought I was being punished for something. What's wrong in my life that I'm being punished? And that's not how it works. That's not how the universe serves us. That's not how whatever higher power that you look up to, that's not how it works. This is merely something that has happened to us and not who we are. And I feel like that is, I only was able to grasp that through time because it felt like I did something wrong to deserve this diagnosis, when in fact it just happened.
It's just right. It just
like a car wreck. A car wreck often just happens. And so we didn't know what tomorrow held before lung cancer. Mm-hmm. And we certainly don't know what tomorrow holds with it. So I try to keep that perspective as well.
Yeah, I feel like I hear this word perspective or the idea of it coming up a lot, which is wonderful to hear. It's a great reminder, but I can relate. I remember I've had those moments too. It's like you don't want to, or I didn't want to be like, in self-pity or whatever, or be like, why me? But hey, these moments happen. We're human. I wonder why did we get, selected for this lottery? Yeah. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I also wanted to, highlight one thing, which is going way back, you had said when your oncologist was presenting options. So this is about like accepting the sort of this new life, right? You heard no chemo, a pill, I want that. I think I just wanted to really highlight what that means to you. The ability to not sit in the chair and get the infusion, and it's still a treatment, right? So your body's still going through a lot, but it's very targeted. It's a pill. You don't have to drive somewhere to, like, what does that mean to you?
I think at the time, and even now, it was more of a freedom. It's hard going to the doctor when I've had other things come up. And so it was like, I was going to the doctor every single day. It was like my full-time job because I was going to the doctor for this, going to the doctor for that. And so I think it just gave me a sense of maybe feeling more normal, even though normal is basically a setting on our clothes dryer. I try not to use that word normal, um, because I don't think there is really a normal. But for my own life, I felt like it would give me more of a sense of normalcy. I wouldn't be running to the doctor. I wouldn't be going to the infusion room. I wouldn't be constantly checking labs. I wouldn't, it just felt like more, I'm kind of at a blank. It just felt different. It felt like I had taken a pill before for something. And so that just felt like the normal thing to do. It was something I knew. Whereas going to a chemo room with other sick people that were at all kind of different stages, and sitting for however long just felt heavy. And it has to be. I'm not there, but I have friends that have gone there, and they make friends, which I like that part about developing relationships with those around you. But I just wanted to be able to swallow a pill at my own home and not feel like I had to be interrupted. But if it means surviving or being interrupted, I'll be interrupted. Don't, because I know one day that's coming for me. I will have to go and do that. But I understand that. And so I feel like a targeted therapy is a little bit lighter on your whole body, the whole makeup of all the cells in your body, because it only attacks the bad cells and not the good and the bad like an infusion would. So I guess it's that piece, but then there's also that selfish piece of I want to be able to continue living as normally as possible without the interruption. So I guess that's the selfish side of the treatment.
I think that's such a valid point. I wouldn't even call it selfish. I mean, you have to, well, first of all, I like self-focused, but selfish shouldn't even be a bad word. It's about you. It's about, and I think what you're saying is it's about the, how effective the treatment is. You want to live life and you want to live as long as you can. But quality of life is so important, and you use the word freedom. And I think that was really helpful because for outsiders, it might feel like, well, yeah, do whatever you can to stay alive or to prolong life and all these things. But what's life like when you have to deal with a million things that impact how you can live day to day? And I think that's what you're highlighting. So I really appreciate that, Ashley. Thank you so much. I'd
Very
love to, we'll stay in touch and keep people updated on your story. And I just want to say thank you for taking the time to share it because this is what helps so many people out there. So thank you.
I'm happy to do it. Thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. And so for everyone who wants to read or watch Ashley's full story, just head to thepatientstory.com where we give human answers to your cancer questions.